And now it's time for the Douglas Propane Howe Bulldogs Head Coaches Show with Zack Hudson.
Coach, last week, a tremendous win. One of the most exciting games that I can remember. 29-28 over Grandview. It came down to the two-point conversion. And I have to ask, was there a chance, if they didn't get the penalty and the personal foul, were you going to go for it anyway on the two-point conversion?
Yeah, we would have went for it. It was, at the time we just put two drives together. That was the second one. When we kind of marched down the field, we had 0 negative plays. And every play we ran was 3 or more yards for 2 drives in a row. Now, it took to the end of the fourth quarter to get that going, but they were getting worn down, and we had the hurry up going. And they were worn down on defense. And so it was a time where you look back and say they haven't stopped us yet in 2 drives. And you hate to leave something on the table. And, it's one of those decisions you have to make that, could backfire on you. But, at the time they hadn't stopped us for 2 drives. And so there was no hesitation. It was with a minute and a half left on the clock. We had to put some pressure on them. And, extra points aren't given either. So, we wanted to make sure they had pressure on them. We felt like if we went ahead, then they would start scrambling a little bit, and they had no timeouts left. And that would really put ourselves defensively in a better situation also to stop them.
Well, speaking of defensively, I thought one of the greatest plays of the night might have been the fact that Tanner Hartsfield saved the touchdown at the 5-yard line just before halftime. And I think that kind of exemplifies the heart of your team.
It does. I mean, we have an effort board for a reason. We concentrate on effort, and our kids give an effort every play and not stop until the whistle blows, and that's offense and defense. And so to see that, I think it really tells the tale of how those kids play. And there was a lot of plays in that game that our kids overcame something and made something happen to save a touchdown or to score a touchdown. And that play just kind of exemplifies the program itself, and a kid like Tanner Hartsfield doing it, probably couldn't ask for another kid to do that exact thing, and a kid that's played for us for so long and done such a good job.
Tyler Grisham got the heavy load of the carries the other night, and it seemed to me that as the game went on, the pounding of Grisham on their defense, it appeared that they just didn't want much more of Grisham.
Well, just the way the offense is designed, and the strength of the offensive line being on one side, that can flip over and do some different things. When you start doing that, and then you take a 215, 20-pound running back and run at them, eventually it's going to wear them out. Now, we hope that they wear out a little quicker than they did, but they did. They wore out, and they got tired of tackling him, and because it's usually the same kid that has to tackle him on either side, and so they did. They got tired of tackling him, and just stopped putting a body on him and started going at his feet, and he was able to fall for 2 or 3 extra yards every time, and everybody looks at a 3-yard play for us as bad, and even as coaches sometimes you're like, come on guys, but to be honest, that's our offense. And when you play good people, you have to live with 3 yards. And that's a good thing.
We'll take a quick timeout, and we'll hear from Douglas Propane.
We had a little leak. We kept smelling, my wife and I kept smelling gas, and we walked into the house. Called my plumber, and he said, well, you need to call your propane company because they handle that. So I gave Douglas a call. They immediately sent Barry out, and Barry brought out some sophisticated little devices to check for if there was any gas in the house, and sure enough, he found 2 places. He tightened those up, which was really the plumber's responsibility anyway. He installed those. But they got that fixed up. Since then, we haven't had any problems at all. So I just enjoy doing business with them because they were here when they said they would be here, and they've done everything they said they would do. So it was a pleasure doing business with them.
Coach, somewhat of a I don't know whether it's a quarterback controversy or not, but a good thing. Mason Riggs has played real well in the absence of Brandon while he's been hurt. What's the status on that quarterback situation?
Oh, Brandon will actually suit out. He didn't even suit out last game. He had a little shoulder injury from the Calsburg game, and Mason stepped in and done a great job. There's no controversy. We're going to suit him out this week, but he's not. With a quarterback, you want to make sure your quarterback's healthy, especially doing what we do, and because of the timing of everything. You don't want to put yourself in a situation that he could, take one shot and go down and us not having the rest of the game, because whoever the quarterback is going to take most of the snaps during the week. And so, Mason will start and be there, and he's done a great job. I mean, for a kid to come in, a sophomore like that, to come in and take the snaps and run the way he does, and he's done a much better job of hanging on to the football, and he's tough to tackle. So, there's no controversy. Mason will start for us, and Brandon will be there, but he's going to be limited doing other things too, just because of his injury.
This is usually the period when you go to East Texas, start playing great athletes, at least in Howe's history, having seen it for about 30 years. Howe's kids generally don't fare well up against those great East Texas athletes, so this is the time that Howe usually exits. However, your offense and the way it's designed and your schemes, even on defense, it appears that has leveled the playing field. Is that
it
fair?
has. You go back 2 years to Hugh Springs, which is now in our division. It's they're going to have some kids that are faster than us. Jefferson's probably got 6 kids that none of us could catch. But the offense levels the playing field, number one. You keep everything inside the hash, and instead of the ball going sideways, it's going north and south. And so you take it completely out. You take speed completely out of the ball game until you break one. And usually faster teams keep us from breaking it. Like Pottsboroughs and Gunners and stuff that have some fast kids in the secondary. They can keep us from breaking them, but at the same time, they have a lot of times have a tough time stopping us until we're 4 yards down the field. Defensively, we've gotten used to it, and I think the better teams we have played, we've gotten used to it. We go out to East Texas. We beat Hugh Springs 2 years ago. We played West Rusk, and West Rusk, I didn't feel like beat us with their speed. They beat us up front. Their offensive and defensive line were some pretty big kids, some pretty strong kids, and they just kind of overpowered us up front. I didn't feel like the speed played so much of a part of that as the size and strength. So, you worry about the speed, of course, as every coach will. But the way our kids play and the way they hit, and the way our offense does some things, you kind of level that playing field. But at the same time, our kids are ready. They know what to expect. We've seen teams just like them, and no, you don't want to let the kid turn the corner and run. But there's 9 out of 10 teams that played during the regular season. You didn't want that to happen either. So it's not much different other than they're out in East Texas and we're not.
Jefferson, what do we expect to see from them offensively and defensively?
Well, offense will be in the spread, and they're going to spread you out. Most of the time they spread you out to run it. But they throw the ball half the time and run the ball half the time. So, they do a good job of making sure they're always very equal in those two things. So it puts you in a bind defensively. You don't know whether put everybody in the box or get everybody out of the box. But, defensively they run a 4-3. And, of course, people do different things against us just by what we run. So, what to expect from them defensively is kind of up in the air a little bit. But, up front, I think we got to win those battles. And, to push the ball into the secondary. I want their secondary kids to have to tackle Tyler and Jaden and Riggs and them. And I think when that happens, we're going to have we got the advantage. But we need to get that ball there. And then, on defense, we just can't let them out. We got to contain them and not let them, turn the corner on us.
You've been listening to the Douglas Propane Howe Bulldogs Coaches Show with Zack Hudson.